not trying to brag or anything, but embroidery comes really easy to me. And I want to be really clear about that because it did not start off that way. What looks simple came from many, many years of trial and error, mistakes, long nights, and learning how to run this as a business, not just a craft. That's what I want to talk about in this video. So hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, I am Tanish Fortson, your favorite virtual embroidery coach, and I run an in-home embroidery business and help embroiderers like you master the craft through my courses and community. So today I want to have a real conversation with you about one thing that I honestly wish someone had with me many years ago when I was first starting out. Because here is the thing, embroidery itself, that part has been extremely easy for me. Learning techniques, perfecting my craft, hooping, understanding thread, tension, troubleshooting, designs, digitizing, all of that just clicked and it came really easy to me. But running the actual business, like that is where I personally have had a lot of trouble. And if you're someone who knows how to embroider, but you're struggling to figure out how to turn that skill into an actual profitable business, then this video is for you because I have been exactly where you are and I'm going to share what I wish I knew back then. So picture the early days of Tanish. I was very excited. I got my little single needle machine, which is right here. I loved embroidery and I was like, I am going to kill it in this game. I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to be the best embroiderer. I can totally make this a business. That was my thinking. And you know what? I actually did. I started getting customers. I had orders. Things were happening, but behind the scenes, you guys, it was absolute chaos. I was doing what a lot of embroiderers do when they first start. I was saying yes to every single order, every single request. Can you do this by tomorrow? Yes. Can you take this order? Yes. I just was figuring things out as I went along. Like there was no plan, just me like improvising. And I was running entirely on hustle and memory, writing things on sticky notes, keeping mental tabs and trying to remember my deadlines. And I got notes over here or a journal over there. And it just was no real system in place. Like it was no process. It was no plan to get beyond the order that I was working on and just move on to the next order. And here's what's wild. I'm super skilled. You guys have seen my work. My embroidery work is good. We're solid in that area. My customers are happy. The final products always look good. But the business itself, you guys, it was taking me out. It felt so heavy. And that is because I was running my business the hard way. So what do I mean by running my business the hard way? Let me give you a picture in your mind. I'd wake up stressed out. I was trying to remember what orders were what, when they were due. I was searching for different orders. I dig through text messages to find orders. I go to my email to pull out a customer request that'll be from weeks ago. I didn't know like what inventory I had in stock. I didn't know like what thread I had in stock. My pricing was just not in order. It was just a mess. I threw out a number that felt right and I was not calculating my time, my materials, or my overhead. Sometimes I make money and then other times I'd feel like I had literally worked for free. That is where I was in my business. Customer communication was all over the place. Some people text, some people emailed, some people Facebook messaged me, some people sent me messages on TikTok. It's just everything was coming in from all over the place and then I'd mess up. And don't even get me started on saying no. It's just something that I know how to do in the beginning. Someone would ask for a rush order and I'd be like, okay. But I would push off my other orders and stay up to 2 a.m. trying to finish it. And it just was a lot of sacrifice on my end. Sacrifice with my family, my girls, sacrifice with my husband. I'd be grouchy all the time, tired all the time. But I thought that's what it took to run a successful business. I thought that it meant saying yes to every single order and just figuring it out later. But here is what really happened. I was exhausted, I was overwhelmed, and honestly, I was starting to resent the very business that I loved so much. My business was not serving me, I was serving it and barely keeping my head above water while doing it. So unfortunately, you cannot work like this. I was not thriving, and there was a moment that changed everything for me. I hit a wall, not a wall physically, but like a mental and emotional wall. And I realized that my business was running me and I was not running it anymore. And it just wasn't fun for me. The burnout was real, really real. I mean, I was tired all the time. I was snapping at everybody. I just wasn't fun to be around. It was like my personality was starting to change because I wasn't enjoying embroidery anymore. Every project just felt like an endless to-do list that I was not keeping up with. And I remember sitting there one day looking at my embroidery machines and thinking, I might have to close this business. Like, I'm not that happy anymore. And it wasn't because I didn't have the talent, and it wasn't because there wasn't a demand for what I was doing, but it was because I just couldn't keep living like this, just functioning from the level that I was functioning at. So that's when I knew something had to change, and I could not keep winging it and acting like everything was okay. And I couldn't keep running on just pure hustle, hustle, hustle every single day, hustling, hustling. I needed to learn how to actually run a business and not just be good at embroidery, because I was just good at embroidery. I was not good at the business part. So I started learning, I started studying, I started putting systems into place. I asked my husband to help me get some of these things in order because of his previous job. Like, this is what he did for his work. I started treating my embroidery business like the legitimate business it was supposed to be. Slowly, everything finally started to shift when he joined me in my business and started getting things in place and helping me get things in place. So what does running a business the right way actually look like for me? Let me tell you what changed. The first thing that I started to do was create systems instead of keeping everything in my head and on Post-it and sticky notes. I built actual systems for how orders were coming in and how I communicated with customers and how I tracked projects. I started to manage inventory better, and suddenly I just wasn't relying on my memory anymore because I started to get that road map. Secondly, I started to implement more processes. I created step-by-step processes for every single part of my business. And that meant from how I priced jobs to how I handled revisions. Like, every single thing in my business now started to have a process. And that meant that I wasn't reinventing the wheel every single time I took an order. Thirdly, I made a plan. Instead of just reacting to whatever came my way, I started planning. Planning my capacity was the most important thing to me. Planning my income goals was the next most important thing to me. Planning my time off, planning what types of projects I was actually wanting to take on, these all became important to me. I was not taking every single embroidery order, and my stress level started to drop like significantly. I started actually making more money because I was pricing properly and being strategic about what I took on. Because if there's one thing you should know about me, if I don't want to do it, then I'm not going to do it, and it's really not going to get done. Or if I do it, it's going to be extreme procrastination. So that's when I started being really selective about the orders that I was taking on. And you know, after implementing these things, I started to have my time back in my life, like real actual free time, and even time where I wasn't thinking about embroidery, which is extremely hard to do. I started to love embroidery again because it wasn't so overwhelming, or it didn't feel like this big burden that I was taking on by myself anymore. My husband started helping me, so that was a big plus. And the business started serving me instead of me serving the business. I know that was a lot to digest, but here's what I want you to understand. Embroidery is easy once you learn it. The technical skills, like, that's all the easy stuff. You can master those. But the business part, like that's a completely different skill set. I've made so many mistakes and I want to talk about those. I feel like so many embroiderers are so talented, but they're struggling. And it's not because they're not good at what they do. It's because nobody has taught them to run the business side of things. And you know, that was me. Like I am so thankful for my husband because he taught me so much from the business side. So you might be just like sitting there watching me and you know that you're skilled and you know that you can do this as a business, but you may feel stuck like how I was feeling. Or maybe you've already started and you're feeling that overwhelm that I used to feel. I mean, I still feel it sometimes, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel it that much anymore. But you still might be saying yes to everything because you're still afraid of turning down work. You're undercharging because you don't know how to price. You're working around the clock because you don't have systems that make it easy. And I just want you to know that it does not have to be this way. There really is a better way to do this. A way that lets you build a profitable embroidery business without burning yourself out. A way that gives you freedom instead of trapping you through different types of systems. So I'm going to be sharing more content like this in the upcoming months, like real business talk, not just embroidery techniques, because I can go on and on and on about techniques. But I think what people actually need is how to actually run your business the right way to where you're profitable and not worried about money all the time. Because so many people ask me the same question, you know, Tanish, how do you get started? Tanish, how do you make such a profit? Tanish, how did you turn this into a real business versus being a hobby? Like, how did you bring your husband on? You know, and I want to help everybody with that. I want to give you guys the systems and the processes and the direction that I wish I had when I was starting out. If you're nodding your head and thinking, yes, that is me, then please stick around because we're going to dive deep into this. You don't have to figure this out alone. You don't have to make all the same mistakes that I made. There is a path forward, and I am going to walk that path with you. In the meantime, if you want to improve your embroidery skills, I have courses that are available that can help you master the craft side of things. Check out the link in the description that is below. And if you want to be a part of the community of embroiderers who are serious about growing and learning together, come join us in Embroidery Mastery in School. It is a paid community where we support each other, we share our wins, we troubleshoot problems, and really dive both into the craft and business side of embroidery. So the link is in the description down below as well. And make sure you subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be dropping more business content like this. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. And I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. What's your biggest struggle when it comes to running your embroidery business? I've told you guys my struggles, so let me know yours. Drop a comment down below. I will read every single one of them and answer all the comments. And your questions may even inspire future videos. So just let me know what's on your mind and let me know what you are thinking. So alrighty friends, I'll see you in the next one. Keep stitching, keep growing, and remember, you've got this.